this is what jumped out at us. When we saw these numbers, we were like, what is this? In 21, you see 270,000 people, goes all the way to 2.1 million in 24. These are non-citizens that are getting Social Security numbers. I have been from D.C. to Social Security offices to the border to track this down, and very good people have helped us along the way. I want to thank them.
The media has been trying to portray everybody that Elon Musk has been working with as some wet behind the ear college kid. You know, big balls, all that kind of stuff. They kept saying it over and over again. And you saw during his interview with Bret Baier, these are captains of industry. These are billionaires. So here's another guy who wasn't on that show, but nonetheless, this is Antonio Gracias. I want you to know who he is before you start hearing him talk. Antonio Gracias is worth $2.2 billion. Not quite as rich as Elon Musk, but nonetheless, none of us would have a problem if we had $2.2 billion. Antonio Gracias is the founder and CEO of Chicago-based growth equity firm Valor Equity Partners, which has $16 billion in gross assets. In 1995, Gracias was in law school at the University of Chicago, where he founded Valor's predecessor, MG Capital. A major Musk loyalist, Gracias met Musk through a mutual friend around 2000. Valor became one of Tesla's first institutional investors, and much of Gracias' wealth comes from his shares of Tesla. He's known for operationally involved investing, even sleeping on Tesla's factory floor to work through manufacturing and supply chain issues. So this is a guy who's made his money, and he's been successful because he's not looking at things from afar. He rolls up his sleeve and digs into things, completely contrary to what the media has been telling you. The media has been telling you it's all a bunch of, young college kids and all this, and it's nothing of the sort. DOGE is comprised of some seriously heavy hitter businessmen. And so what he says here, it blows the doors off the left.
Antonio, can you tell us what you, Antonio is helping out with the Social Security. So just trying to review Social Security, where you may have heard that we found 20 million dead people marked as alive in the Social Security database. This is so crazy. And then you'll notice there's a strange trend here where how many Social Security numbers were issued? Do you want to?
Yeah. So let me tell you what happened here. We started at the top of the system.
You want to talk about a lot of maybe?
We started at the top of the system, mapping the whole system of Social Security to understand where all the fraud was. And there's a lot of great people there that showed us really a lot of waste. And so that came up with a big list of stuff they're working on. You've heard some of that already. But this is what jumped out at us. When we saw these numbers, we were like, what is this? In 21, you see 270,000 people, goes all the way to 2.1 million in 24. These are non-citizens that are getting Social Security numbers.
Yeah, this is a mind-blowing chart.
Yeah, this literally blew us away. Like, we went there to find fraud, and we found this by accident. And this isn't political, by the way. My parents are immigrants. This country's been great to us. My brother and sister all born in Spain. I'm pro-legal immigration. This is not political. This is not political. This is about America and the future of America. And there are a lot of good people in the system that pointed us in this direction. I want to honor them right now. That work in the government today, who took risks to show us these numbers and tell us what's going on. Yeah. So I want to stop for a minute. I want to honor those people today. Very good people. Very good people. I have been from D.C. to Social Security offices to the border to track this down, and very good people have helped us along the way. I want to thank them.
Yeah.
This number.
It leaves you without words that it took somebody like Elon Musk and Antonio here to be digging into these things, and they were directed by people at Social Security like, hey man, you might want to take a look at this. What? We've told people, but they won't listen. Take a look at this file. And they dug in, And oh my God, heads exploded with this data. This right now, this section here, which I'm not going to interrupt anymore. I want you to hear the entirety of this section and let it sink in. And go ahead and put a mark down. It's at the 1 hour and 47 second, 1 hour and 47 minute mark, so you can go back to it and refer to it. This is the end of the Democrat Party. The media won't discuss it. No one's going to talk about it. You're going to have to talk about it. I will clip this and I'll put it out again, but it is mind-blowing what they had planned for us.
This is when you come in the country, if you're illegal, there's a couple ways to come in. You come in through a port of entry, and you can tell them you're afraid, and they'll give you an asylum case. You'll get an interview, then you get in. That's one way to do it. Another way to do it is to just go to the border. Literally, this happened. I talked to Border Patrol myself. Elon was there too. I went to Laredo, and I went to Bronzeville. Elon went to Eagle Pass. You walk up to a Border Patrol officer, and you tell them you want to come in. They have a couple of choices. They could charge you with a misdemeanor or a felony under 1325, or they can make it an administrative offense, like a parking ticket, basically. They were told to do that, make it an administrative offense under the last administration. And then you go walk across the border. They do what's called a release from your own recognizance, and they give you an NTA, a notice to appear, which to appear to judge. The wait times on judges are like average 6 years. Look at Grok, you'll see it on immigration judges. There's only 700 of them. This is 5.5 million people, okay? So what happens then? Once you're in the country and you got asylum through one of these pathways, and we map the whole thing out, you can apply for a work document. You file a 765, it's the work form. You get this form called the 766, that's the authorization, and then Social Security Administration automatically sends you in the mail your Social Security number. No interview, no ID.
This is worth just reiterating. It's not people sometimes think that under the Biden administration that he was simply asleep at the switch. He wasn't asleep.
No.
They weren't asleep at the switch. It was a massive, large-scale program to import as many illegals as possible, ultimately to change the entire voting map of the United States and disenfranchise the American people and make it a permanent, deep blue, one-party state from which there would be no escape.
Look, if I hadn't seen this myself, I'm not sure I'd have believed it. I went through it myself and mapped it, and Elon is right. This is true. The defaults in the system from Social Security to all of the benefit programs have been set to max inclusion, max pay for these people, and minimum collection. That's what's happening. We found 1.3 million of them already on Medicaid, as an example. We've gone through, on every benefit program we went through, we found groups from this particular group of people, this 5.5 million people, in those benefit programs. And then what was really, really disturbing us was why. We're asking ourselves why.
Right.
And so we actually just took a sample and looked at voter registration records. And we found people here registered to vote in this population.
Matt, are you pissed off yet? Are you pissed off that you've been paying for your country to be invaded and taken over? The Democrat apparatus is evil to the core. They wanted to take down America from within, and this deep state manipulation that took place with your money would never have been found. That's why these people are freaking out. That's why they're doing everything they possibly can to take down President Trump. It's because of this. This is why they're protesting in the street and shooting and burning and all this crazy stuff. This is why they want to take down Pete Hegseth. Oh, Barry, how does this relate to Pete Hegseth? Because what I'm seeing right now, and I'm going to say it, what I'm seeing right now and what I'm seeing with the judges is if this stuff isn't fixed, the military is the only way. They know it. When I say they, the Democrats know that the only way this really gets fixed, I'm talking about the fraud in Social Security, the fraud in Medicaid, the politicians, the judges, the crazy judiciary, the military is the only way. Barry, you sound psycho. Oh, really? What do you think's going to change this? You think that all of a sudden the Supreme Court's going to step in? You have that pipe dream? That all these judges are going to be taken out? Remember, that you're seeing these judges because it's Trump stuff that they're ruling on. How many other different cases have they ruled on over the course of the last, 5 or 6 years that you never heard of? How are we going to fix all this? You have a guy here who's obviously a legal immigrant family who's shook to the core. This guy's worth billions of dollars. Like, what in the hell is this? They were going to turn this into a communist, Marxist, socialist, some sort of society, and there would have been nothing you could have done about it if President Trump didn't win. So now they know you know. So now this is where it gets dangerous. Now they know you know. And because they know you know, what do you think's going to happen? Tonight's show at 7 o'clock, I got some stuff that Mark Levin and Victor Davis Hanson were talking about last night that'll curl your hair. But now you can see what the plan was. But they're not done yet.
Yes.
And who did vote?
And we found some by sampling that actually did vote. And we have referred them to prosecution at the Homeland Security Investigation Service.
Yeah.
Already. That is already happening. Right now. Yeah. And the truly disturbing thing, though, I just want you to know this, a truly disturbing thing to me, and the darkest thing about this to me, the voter fraud is terrible, but the human tragedy this created is extraordinary, because what you don't understand, and people don't know, and Americans need to know, that's why I'm here, is that human traffickers made $13 to $15 billion off of this, okay? That's the money that's going around the world, moving people around the world to our borders because of these incentives.
Bingo. That's the part I wanted you to hear, and that's the part you'll never hear on the news. This was just one incestuous pigsty, political, communist, trafficking, festering boil wrapped up in one. And the worst part about it is you were paying, well, no, that's not the worst part, because what happened to the kids is the worst part. But another bad part is that you were paying for it. Your money has been paying for the entirety of this scheme. So you tell me, how are we going to fix decades of this crap without having the military involved? There's kids going all over the world that you're financing. And now they have newcomers with Social Securities that they can vote so that you can never stop it. We're even having this conversation, and the only reason this conversation is happening because Elon's in Wisconsin trying to save a judicial appointment seat. Imagine that, with everything you know, with everything these people are saying, there's still a possibility that we will lose that judicial seat in Wisconsin. How can that be possible? Well, there's only one way it can be possible. They're stealing it. They're still doing it. They're never going to quit. How are you going to have to make them quit? Military.
Does it work? What happens? Hey, if you're in Africa and you're in Central America, you got to walk up through Mexico and through America. Who do you pay? You pay the narcos, you pay the traffickers, right? And we were told by ICE, it's between $20,000 and $500, depends where they pick you up, to walk across all those countries and get all the way up to the border. Where's that money goes? It goes to the cartels. It goes to human traffickers, right? There are 30,000 children that have not appeared on the notice to appear already. ICE knows this. 30,000 children, 270,000 children didn't even get notices to appear. ICE told us that kids are being trafficked back and forth across the border to complete families to make this easier. This is a human tragedy. It's not just the money, it's the people and the kids. And how many of these people died on the way up here that didn't make it in? What happened to them? We created a system here that created a incentive for people to come and be taken advantage of by these traffickers. And how do you think they get paid? Well, you're in Africa, Central America, you got $20,000 or $10,000 or $5,000 to pay these traffickers? No, you don't. What happens? You come in, then you owe them the money. You're an indentured servant. If you don't pay them, what happens? What do? They kill your mother, they kill your brother, they kill your family. What happens next? That's what we discovered. And I have to tell you, it's tragic to me. The tragedy, the human tragedy this created is extraordinary. That's the real problem. This is America. We don't do this here in America.
Yeah, we do. We shouldn't be, but obviously that's what they're doing. That's what the Democrats and probably some Republicans have been doing. It just makes your skin crawl to think that all of this, the fake votes, the trafficking, the money laundering, where did we lose our way? How did we lose our way as a country so badly that all of this happened? And I'm watching this and I'm thinking to myself, and I asked Robin, did you see any of this on the news? Nope, not a word. And I'm talking about Fox. I know it's not on MSNBC, CNN, ABC. No. And so Elon holds this meeting here. So if you guys wanted to rebuke it, let's have some discussion on rebuking it. Oh, no. Can't rebuke it because people would hear it. And if people hear it, then what do we do? What do we do when people hear what's been going on? We have to make them think like Elon's the second coming of the devil. That Trump, he did this and he did that. We have to let people say we need to burn Teslas. We can't let this stuff get out there. It will cause too many people to ask questions. This is a red pill cornucopia. This is a giant vat of red pills. If people would only listen, I didn't say believe. If they would only listen, and if you listen, it's going to cause you to ask questions. Like, really? Is this really happening? How is this? Why? Who? How? What? When? That's what we need. When people talk about revival, that's the kind of revival I think we need. I need some God-centered questioning. I need people to go, wait a second, wait, hold up, Antonio and Elon. Can you back up for a second? How the hell is this happening? Who put this network together? How is it funded? How long has it been going on? Who are the people in charge? Questions any reporter should be asking. Not a word. Not a single word.